Okay, so welcome to the course. This is Salim Asade. I will be the instructor for this course, and I know some names. They have taken courses with me before. Savas, Asma, I think, Sadef, Muhammad, Tuba. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, Muhammad Wakas. So welcome again, and good to see you again in this course, and I wish you guys will learn something new and something different. It might be related, these courses now in the it's not very different from other courses that you guys have taken in the university before. So yeah, hopefully you guys the introduction. We have Ibrahim also. I think Ibrahim also took a course with me. Norai the first time. I think Bunyamin, um, yeah, at the first time. I think we have other students who are taking this course for the first time. So glad to see you guys here again, and hopefully you guys are excited, and the you save us time, in terms of different politics or policies for this course. Uh, but yeah, let me start. Let me share my screen, and yeah, this is the second time I teach this course. I teach. You guys have taken with me data mining, machine learning. Machine learning, I taught it twice. I taught data mining 5 times so far, and then the I think there's something in sharing my screen. Okay, just a second. Um, okay, let me try to share again. Okay. So, yeah, so let's get started. First of all, I mean, just to remind you, if you cannot access, you guys now should be very familiar with Canvas, but also you can access it from your calendar in Microsoft Teams. You can just click and join, because I get this thing multiple time last semester saying I cannot join or there is no link to join. If you accepted the invitation, I'm saying this because it's recorded, so just for anybody who's not attending today, you can go to the live session and click and join. You will be able to join. Just to remind you, again, I'm sorry, I shouldn't open this. So yeah, this is the course. There's some material that's not published. I publish it gradually. So first thing I want to talk about with you today about course policies. You guys know it. The most of the students here, 99%, we can tell. It is just a reminder, again, because this will make your life easy, make my life easy. Um, when we talk about or when we interact with each other during the course or during the semester. Okay, so different policies in the course, I just want to go over them quickly. So at the beginning, please don't post or ask questions in the live chat channel, because this might confuse the students, which means here, right now, today we have live session, for example, here. Don't post anything here. If you have a question, send it to me directly. If it's worth any post, I will post it. For example, don't come here and say, hey, Hi, da da da, what is, can we get an extension or whatever? Don't discuss anything here because this is a little bit confusing. So please don't do that. I will be the only one who discuss, who type or post here, just in case, you don't misguide the students or, I don't know, it happens before where it is just a simple question and then become a story where people come back to me and then they start sending me private questions. What is this? What do they mean? What that guy? What? So please don't post anything in the chat. That's for this session. Only send me messages directly. Directly just reach out to me, either Teams or an email. I will get back to you, as soon as I can. Usually I reply within the evening, faster than within the day. That's one thing. So the other thing is, webinar synopsis. When you miss a class, you have 1 week only, 1 week only. So today, let's say, today you missed a class, you have up to the next Tuesday to, send me the webinar synopsis or the webinar summary. There is a template for this. So also don't send anything from your own, don't come up with, your own style. I have a template that the company requires. That's not my template. This is the university require. This is from Dr. Ihsan. So just download this file. I have it for you here, Introduction and Resources. Download this file and, fill it with information. It is 2 paragraphs, very simple, very quick. You can do them. You can do it. You need just to review the material that we have covered in the class and answer them and send it to my email. Okay, my email. Don't send me anything filed in the chat, even for any regular questions, because I will not download them. Usually when I reply to the chat, I reply, using my email. Sorry, my phone. If there is a quick question. So again, use Teams for quick question. If you have a question that need me to read the file or take a look to this or that, or something or whatever, just use the email. Um, uh, yeah. So that's for the webinar. So please don't, if you are submitting after a week, more than a week, I said here, there will be no exceptions. In some hard cases, if there's a proof, I may accept it with penalty, and this will impact when you see right now the syllabus, there is a grade for attendance. This will not give you a full grade in the attendance. So please, and attendance is 15 point. You guys during the last semesters, during the last 5, 6 semesters, I noticed that the student don't pay attention too much to the attendance. Attendance is 15% of your grade. You are talking about when it comes to 15%, it's almost 3 points from your grade. You can be A, if you B or B, let's say B plus or B, you could reach A, easily with attendance. So attendance is 15%. It's not something you can, ignore. So please don't ignore it. You missed a class within a week, send me the webinar synopsis, and that's it. Emails, as you guys know, I teach 2 classes. If you are sending me, hey, da 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 da, and then I finish reading the email, I don't know in which class you are. Please, if you don't include which class you are in, even if I know you, I will not reply the email. So don't expect me to reply any email without mentioning, what is your class. For example, data analysis. I'm teaching data mining. So the same thing, I'm gonna tell the data mining class right after this class. So you please just tell me, okay, say data analysis. If you want to discuss something related to the assignments, mention what assignments what assignment you want to talk about. In some scenarios, why I'm saying this, because sometimes I have a student who missed a previous assignment and they want to get an extension, or they want to get an excuse, or they want to submit again, maybe with penalty, whatever. So when you just talk about, okay, give me extension, it's confusing to me. Please include, if you're talking again about an assignment, about an attendance, about whatever, please be specific. Use the course name and then specify which assignment, which synopsis you want to talk about. So it happens, last semester, a student sent me a webinar summary or synopsis, and they didn't tell me which course. Even when I open it, the title still have the template title that I have in the template. So they didn't change it even. How I can know, which class is this for? So please be specific to make things easier and quicker and faster so I can reply you to quickly. If I didn't respond, believe me, within 48 hours, this means, your email is not clear enough to me and I ignore it. So please avoid these things to make things easier to me. Regarding assignments, there will be some assignments. I think in some cases I will say it's a group assignment. If you want to do work in a group, it's up to you. Um, you know the groups can be one, can be three at most. So be creative. It's up to you. I recommend the groups all the time. I'm a big fan of the groups. When I was a student, I worked in the groups. I like groups, but all the time, groups should be also, they are helping each other. They explain to each other, not one person or not one student finish the whole homework and the rest are, invite him for lunch and that's it. So, so be creative in the groups, work with each other, divide the tasks, and that's why I mean, if you guys notice from the ones who took classes with me, when I give you sometimes assignments, sometimes I give you a question that has A, B, C, D. That's my style because this is the way I'm trying to encourage groups, which means you can give a student a full question that has A, B, C, D, E that they need to be solved. So they can focus in one aspect on one part of the assignment where the other part is for other people. In data analysis, you might find something different where you have I may give you a data set where I'm going to ask you maybe 10 questions about data set. And then another question where I give you another data set where I'm going to ask you another set of questions. So in this case, also the groups will be, easier to work with because when somebody can pick data set one and the other guy can pick data set two, and this guy will answer all the questions in data set one, and the other guy will work on all the questions in the data for that's related to data set two. This will make, this will get the best of that team. So please, and in all times, when I'm grading groups, honestly, sometimes I deduct more points when it comes to individual because when I'm assuming that those guys work as a group, I'm assuming that there should be a quality of the work. There is more quality. There is more clarification in the assignment. So please be creative when you work in a group. Okay, be creative. You guys, even though if you work independently, even though the questions are independent, but at least dedicate at least an hour when you guys finish, sit together, say, hey, how we make it, more, readable, how we can make it, look more professional, and so on and so on. So that's for the groups. I will try to post the assignments, right after, within 2 days after the live session class. And, my deadlines all the time in the past was Saturdays, Saturday midnight. But I will try, this semester I'm gonna follow a different pattern where my deadlines will be the mid of the week. This policy, I didn't change this part, honestly. I think I added something for yeah, here. I updated this line, but I forgot to add this line. I'm trying to see. I changed the deadlines instead of Saturdays, make it maybe something within the mid of the week, maybe Wednesdays. I will update. I will let you know. Team formation. Teams cannot be formed, within 3 days from the due date. Let's assume that due date is Wednesday. Teams cannot be formed Wednesday. Teams cannot be formed Tuesday. Teams cannot be formed Mondays. Teams should be formed before because if you are assuming you guys are working in a team, then you should have looked at the assignment before, sit together, discuss together before. There is no way that a team can be formed, in the night of the submission. Okay. So again, you guys have taken with me most of your classes before. So when you want to send, before you work in a team, you have to send me, your team members 3 days before the due date, before the due date. And finally, I mean, these are two important points here in this slide. Don't use AI tools. I know you go to discussion, maybe somebody last semester told me, my language too, but keep it with errors. Okay, if I didn't understand what you are writing, I am myself, I will go to the AI tool and ask it, okay, clarify, rewrite it, make it better, whatever. I use a tool to check if this is AI tool, and AI tool is called plagiarism according to the company, to the university policies. So please avoid using AI tools to solve um, so far, I know how to use the AI tools. I used them before, sorry, for discussions. And this semester, I may, go with coding as well, because in this class there's coding. I didn't honestly test before, to check if the code is AI generated code or no. But I have checked before, the questions. Try to build. Why I'm saying this? Because I want you to understand what you are writing. That's the main goal. That's the main goal. Final thing, I want to talk about it. It's whether it's a question or a plot. If you are solving a question, you need to show the steps. If you are presenting a plot or if you are creating a plot based on the question requirement, you need to talk about that plot. Never ever give me a plot that is just a plot by itself. Even if I ask you in the question, create a plot that, show X versus Y. I didn't say explain it. This question implicitly means you have to explain it. And all the time, when you talk about the plots, at least, you should have one summary, one sentence that summarizes the plots, shows a trend, telling me this plot is showing X versus Y. This is not a summary. You should say, according to the plot that show the relationship between X and Y, we notice, for example, in year maybe 2018, there is, higher, sales when it compared to all other years. So you should talk about a fact that is in the plot, not mentioning a fact, just telling me, that's not a description. Why I'm saying this? Because when you work, if you don't work right now, when you go to the real work environment, when you talk about plots, sometimes, yes, you are presenting in a presentation and maybe you don't have it in your slides. But if you want to give your slide to somebody, you should tell them what is in that plot to make it easy for them to read. Okay? I work in a company where, honestly, my manager, when I joined, they didn't read the slides if you didn't give them summaries. You have to give them at least one sentence to tell them why you have this plot. In some cases, even when we develop plots, if the plot does not have anything to tell, you shouldn't include it. For example, and you can just replace it with a sentence in the summary of the slides, or at the beginning of the slides, saying, there is no relationship between X and Y. But if you find that there is a relationship that can tell something, that show a peak, that show a strike, that show, that there is an event happening in somehow in Corona years, for example, or whatever, you should have a plot about it. In the assignment in this course, sometimes you don't have the options because I'm asking you to do this or that. But in your work environment, is as a recommendation, don't include plots that do not give any information. When you in the on the other hand, if you include a plot that show or highlight something, you have to talk about it with at least one sentence to guide your audience what to look at, okay? To guide your audience what to read, what is this, what is that, okay? So that's for the policies. Any questions before we talk about other stuff? Any question? I think things are clear, right?
I have one thing to
Yes.
I created one group for the general class. I created WhatsApp group. I don't have anywhere to share. Can I share it through that Teams, or I can send it to you? The WhatsApp link that we can work collaboratively and we I mean know each other.
You are saying you don't know anyone in the class, so this is how you want to
I
reach
mean,
out to them?
Yeah, I know some of them. Last semester, I mean, I shared the WhatsApp link and then people join through the link and we work collaboratively through the link. And we created some groups. We ask question
Oh,
through
you
the
mean
group.
when I created an Excel sheet for the groups?
I created one WhatsApp group. I
Oh,
wanna
you are so you are announcing that you have created a WhatsApp group,
I wanna share it with to
the
the
class.
yes. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, put it
Can
in
I?
the chat. That's fine. Yeah, that's something. It's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, put it in
yeah.
the this public chat. No problem.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no problem. Okay. So this is the first thing. And the second thing is the syllabus. I don't know why the syllabus is not published. Oops. Just give me a second. Let me see syllabus. Oh, here. If I go to home, this one should be published. I don't know if you guys can see the syllabus.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
We can now. Yeah.
oh, okay. So let me open the syllabus. There will be no class in the spring break. If we have a class during the spring break, there will be no class. I didn't check honestly the dates, but we will check later. Before we continue, there is um, just to show you the how the distribution of the grade. So you will have 30% in the project. The project could be one phase, could be in two phases. Okay, the project could be one phase or could be two phases. If it is one phase, it's going to be 30% in one phase. If it is two phases, the 30% will be splitted, maybe 15, 15, maybe 20, 10, something like this. But you have a project in this course. And the project, like I said, I mean, the groups, as you guys know before, I mean, the group doesn't need to be, the same group through the whole semester. This semester, for example, I'm a friend of with Ibrahim. I want to be with his group. Next, after the first assignment, we get zero, all of us. Then I don't want to continue with Ibrahim. I'm gonna go with um, Abdul Malik, or I'll go with Savas or whoever. Then we get good grade. I want to continue with them. So please, every time you change the group, let me know. If the group will continue to be in the second assignment, let's say assignment one, group one, Salim and let's say Abdul Malik, we like each other, we want to continue with each other. There is no need to let me know in assignment two because the assumption that you guys are continuing with each other. But if you change, you need to let me know. The same applies to the project. The groups in the assignment does not need to be the same groups in the project. Okay. Let me think about the project. Maybe I may increase the project to make it 4 students instead of 3 maximum. So 4 will give opportunity to have more people in the project. Okay. But again, let's just talk about for now about the grade distribution. 30% for projects. Assignments will be 30%. Quizzes. I give it 20%. Actually, 20% is too much. Okay, for quizzes. We will have three, maybe three, four of them. It's too much, too many points. But why I like to give it too many points? It's because it's very simple, very straightforward. It's helping many students, as I changed this multiple times during my different semesters in North American university, where I found that this number is kind of a magical number to help students to pass the class. So please don't pay attention to the quizzes. Okay, if you miss the quiz again, if you submit late a quiz, I will deduct point from you as a late penalty. So quiz does not take time. There is no reason to, miss it. There is no reason to miss it. All the assignments I give usually have at least 10 to 13 or to 12 days to work on them. For the project, I may give 3 weeks, as time frame to finish it, but I still need to think about it. So quizzes 20%, webinars, which is the attendance, this live session attendance is 15. And discussion forum, we have discussions will be 10%. Last semester, for example, in one of my courses, the students, I have a couple of students who kept using AI tools and I kept warning them about using AI tools and they lost getting A because they failed to get, more than 3 or 4 out of 10 in the discussion. Discussion is one question or two questions where you have to write it your own thoughts, your own thoughts. Find a citation and write your own thoughts. Most of them, they use AI tools. AI tools, led them to lose some points. 3, 4 points. So they get 2 out of 7, something like this, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 in discussion forum, and see the impact. You know, you might be 96 if you lose 2 or 3. Sorry, if you lose 7 points in discussion forum, 7 points means you are not even, you are barely A minus. Assuming that you are getting full grade in the rest. So discussion forum has an impact in your grade. So please use your own idea, okay, your own solutions in the assignments. And these are the grades, we have A minus, B plus, B minus, and as you know, the minimum grade we have C. You guys can take a look to this. Topics that we will be discussing during this semester. I need to check or double check the spring break. I think it's March 17th. Is it right, the 17th? Let me check the academic calendar. Spring break. Yeah, okay, 10 to 14. 10 to 14, which is... Okay, I need to shift this table a little bit. 10 to 14, so, and 17 will be when? 17 will be March 17. 17, then it's wrong. So 10 to 14, and we don't have a class this day. So we have, okay, I need to do a little change to the syllabus. Okay, I'm sorry. I will fix it. Anyway, so the topics that we are going to cover in this course will be, introduction to data analysis, foundation of data analysis. We will talk about little bit about data types, data structure, data collection, different sources, and then we'll talk about, different data cleaning mechanisms. We have 2 books as a references, by the way, but as you know, the now data analysis, data mining, machine learning, it's a kind of knowledge that's that's moving like crazy. Every day you find something new, everything there is a new things coming out. So I the books are good reference, but in the same time I may use external sources as well, even though you saw me here referring to the book, but in some cases we'll be using other resources. But again, the second topic will be talking about will be data cleaning, preparation. Definitely, the data you use, it's not always the best data you have. So sometimes you have to do some cleaning, preparation. If it's small data set, you can do it manually. When it becomes big data set, then you have to use some well-known methods that proven that it's working. Uh, um, uh, and then we have to do develop what's called exploration, do data exploration, which is we will see some examples from R language. I'm referring to R. It has equivalent thing in Python. We cannot talk about both of them. In chapter 3 they are talking about R, so I'm going to use it. Later it's up to you, if you want to develop your assignments or your project using Python or R, unless I specify. It's up to you. Use R or Python. It's up to you later, especially when it comes to visualization or whatever. Okay. Next, we'll talk about descriptive stat. Descriptive stat is it's very trivial, but to do it. But in the same time, it has different, it has lots of meaning when it comes to the data to describe your data set. Okay, it has two. It has lots of meaning. It might provide some signals about what's happening in the data, and for example, if you take a look at your data and you see, for example, there is a skewness in the data, and this could be from descriptive stat. Now, knowing that there is a skewness in the data means that you might be limited to use particular methods when it comes to modeling. So why? Because the data have some skewness. What should I do? Should I I mean, what should I do? I should, um, um, what is it? Fix the skewness. Okay, I should fix the skewness. Okay, and okay. Just give me 1 second. So the third topic we'll talk about, which is anomalies. Anomalies, it's really interesting topic because there is plenty of methods that can be straightforward to be used that has some mathematical foundation, which is like, there is isolation forest, there is the outlier detection, that we know, but tools that they use, the IQR, but also there is other machine learning, methodology that can be used to detect anomalies, in your data. And these methods could be something like, you need to use, for example, what's called autoconductors. It's kind of a part of, coming from the deep learning side. We're gonna use the built-in ones. Okay, I'll try to show some of the built-in ones. We could use also some clustering techniques. We could use also which is me. I mean, in other words, some unsupervised and some supervised. I'll try to go over them within the class, see how much we can, achieve, and then hopefully, we can get to the point where I'm sorry, where you guys at least get some good knowledge about the anomaly detection. And anomaly detection, actually, it is why you need to highlight the anomaly. Again, in other words, people could call it outliers, but why it's important to know about anomalies. It's because now in big companies, in general, they are receiving data every single day. And for that, there's sometimes there might be a pattern in the data that they cannot check it by their naked eye, because the amount of the data they're receiving. For example, if you are an accounting company and you have a general ledger data, and then you are receiving data from different, you are receiving maybe invoices, bills, all these things automatically connected with your QuickBooks, for example. You might be seeing tons of transactions that are coming to your general ledger. Now, these transactions, they might have comes with they will come with different accounts amounts, and some of these amounts might be too much account, too much amount. It might be strange charge that you never thought it's gonna be there. Somehow a vendor or a customer sorry, a vendor where you spend your expenses. Sometimes maybe a vendor is sending you a receipt that you have to pay, or you already paid, deducted from your credit card, but you don't recognize this vendor. So this is where the anomaly will let you know, okay, this vendor name is not popular. That transaction, the amount of that transaction is not popular. So it's really crucial. Also, it's good. When it comes to the banks, where they can monitor the transactions of the credit card, they use it to detect fraud detection. So fraud detection technique, what is it actually? It's nothing but anomaly detection. And what is anomaly detection? It is nothing but highlighting outliers. Outliers, keep in mind, uses only one feature. For example, I need to specify the outliers in the amount field of the data, which means if I have amount that is really too much, it's the big amount compared to the rest, this is an outlier. So I can, hey, say, hey, I have this big amount. Or I can say, okay, this is very low amount. That's never been happened that we have, this is this minimal, this amount, that small amount. There is other techniques when I talk about autoconductors or the machine learning ones. This is where we use all the fields. What does it mean? Means that when we say, okay, this amount is too big amount that we are getting charged for, we have to consider, okay, who is the vendor? What is that transaction is for? So there is multiple things you have to consider, which means this is where I said we have to consider all the fields. Other techniques, like I said, the like isolation forest, or the outlier detection like IQ, are you could use only one. It uses only one column or one feature or one field. So that's why, it's good to understand the anomaly detection. And then we'll talk about the correlation and regression analysis. We'll take a look to the linear regression, how it's important, in the data analysis. And then we'll talk about the visualizations. There is plenty of ways that we can do visualizations, and, I will try to share some file. I think I have a file where talk about, how to interpret some of the visualizations. There is different types of visualization where visualization that are used to for one variable or for one field in the database. Some of them are used to show the relationship between two variables. Some of them are used to show the relationship between multiple variables in the data set. And finally, we'll talk about data analysis with real world application. We'll talk about the time series analysis. Okay, we'll talk about the time series analysis and see, how, we can analyze a time series. There is a plenty, of methods. We will pick one. I will add maybe one more application. So, at least we can show, one method to do time series analysis, and then one method to do something else. So that's kind of the syllabus that we have, and these are the topics that we are going to cover in this semester. Any question? Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, the syllabus, let me see. This is broken. Okay, you guys can use the syllabus here. I think I refer to it in the home page. Yeah, course syllabus. Okay, so that's a course syllabus. What else? Okay, so for the slides, will be module 1, introduction and EDA. I'm gonna release the slides for this. And let's spend the upcoming 25 minutes or 20 minutes. I have data mining class right after this, so we have time until 7:30, so we can start talking about the first material, the first slide. So, importantly, there is some, and this could be, could be also interview questions. Sometimes, you might be doing or applying for, data analysis position where you get a question like, okay, what is data analysis? Okay. Um, you know, it's important actually, to get answers for, different questions related to data analysis, as well as defining the data analysis. Yes, you can say data analysis to analyze data. Okay, then what? Actually, it's not just to say analyze data. Analyze data to highlight what? To highlight the trends, for example, to find, patterns that's not easy found or can be found easily, just by looking at the data. It's about, data analysis about automating, the automating the view of the data, where you can see the data live coming every day, and then you can see visualization that reflect them. There is now a concept that's becoming very popular. It's called data drifting. So this data drifting is kind of a visualization mechanism or plots that you can build to monitor your data, how they look like, and if there is some pattern that's unusual, you can get a notification about. So, it's good to know that data analysis is not just to say, analyze data. Okay. Another thing, how important in today's world. Like I said, right now, most of the companies, when the way they operate, they operate within, within a container where they are communicating their data and getting data from other companies. So when you get other data from other companies, it's important as well for you when you are getting this data, to check this data, to get some visualization about the data that you are getting, to get some summaries about the data that you are getting. So it's important right now, to understand that data analysis, is not just to analyze the data you have, also to analyze the data that you are receiving, to take actions quickly, not to wait, for months until you take action. It's about automating the data retrieval. It's about automating the data fixes. All these aspects are part of the data analysis. It's another thing about the data analysis. You have to understand that the data that you are dealing with could be structured, could be unstructured. Structured is a tabular format. Whenever you see the data in a form of a table, this is called a structured table. When you see the data in the form of different fields, for every record in the data has different fields, or maybe similar fields in some cases, maybe other cases different fields. This is where we call it unstructured. And for this, for example, people use usually what's called, there is a MongoDB software that's used to store unstructured database. For structured database, people use Microsoft Access. People use Excel files. People use SQL database. People use Oracle DB to store structured database. Okay, so structured are more popular because it's kind of think about it, is well structured and make it easy to work with, versus when it comes to unstructured database. The data analysis process, it starts by you have to be kind of you know a person who asks too many questions. So if you want to know yourself, are you a data analyst or no? You have to check. Am I the guy who keep asking questions? Why this data looks like this? Why this data is this? Why today I'm getting the data in this format? Why they didn't send it to us in the other format? Why our data in this in this company, for example, we are storing first name and last name in one column. Why we don't split, first name in one column and last name in a separate column? Why we are storing, the let's say the salaries without adding a dollar sign? Why don't we have a dollar sign as part of the salary in our database? Something like this. If you don't ask questions, if the data does not trigger you to ask questions, then you are not a real data analyst. You have to work on yourself and read more about how to be a good data analyst, what kind of questions you should ask. So again, the main part of, or the main task when it comes to the data analysis, is you have to be that kind of a person who ask questions. Okay, it's not, you will not born with this a skill. You have to read, what should I ask? If you are working with financial data, you should ask yourself, read what people ask about the data, what people are looking for, what people are discussing, what people are willing to accept as a question, and what people are not willing to accept as a question from you about their data. Okay, so for example, you cannot go to anybody and say, hey, when it comes to an email, I prefer to store the username of that email separately in one column in the database, and then the company name in the other column. Nobody like that. An email is an email, Salim at at an A university, and that's it. So you have to be careful what to ask also. Just asking random question does not make you a data analyst. You have to be good enough in the domain that you are asking about. Okay. Now, the second part, is, collection and preparation. You have to know, we'll talk about different collection methods. I think I'll talk about data sources here. Okay. You have to have the skill of data collection from, if you are getting a public. So there is two types of data. We'll talk about it, I think, later. One of them is called public data sets that are available in the internet. You should have the skills and the capability to be able to collect this data. And this is the public data set. We have different resources. You should be able, to know how to go to this website and collect the data from there. Okay. And there's other ways where you have to, if you are working, if you want to collect data that's local to the company, then you have to build some skills how to collect this data. Maybe you need to use SQL Server to do that. Maybe the data is in Oracle. Maybe the data is in Microsoft Azure. So you have to have a cloud skills to be able to collect that data. Other thing, after we collect the data, prepare the data, fill the missings, which is part of the preparation. This is where the magics start. You have to be able to analyze the data and interpret the data, provide some insights. Insights means provide your audience with a summary that they don't expect. Provide your audience with a summary or findings that they didn't or they cannot see just by looking at the data. And then the next step is to the ability to communicate the findings. I spoke before in the policies how to communicate the plots. Don't put the plot. If you are sharing file only, add the plot with a summary sentence, okay, about what you are seeing. If you are presenting, add a summary sentence. If the plot does not say anything, don't include it in your presentation. Okay, this is in real life. In the assignments or projects, you have to do it. Okay, but you have to include it. But I'm saying if you are presenting to people, make sure your plot have something to say. Okay, and then finally, make informed decisions. Don't conclude your data analysis presentation. Don't conclude any discussion about the data you are analyzing without saying, okay, next steps based on the finding. The next steps is to da 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 da. You have to have at least one thing you need to do next. What is it? Improve the data collection, maybe improve the data preprocessing, maybe collect more data, maybe find other data sources, maybe come up with different plots. You should have something, okay, to do. Now, the other thing is, is good to know the role of data in making decisions. Data actually, drives business strategy a lot. Okay. Um, there's different case studies, for successful data driven decisions, and one of these things, for example, in the company where I work, we have a marketing team. The marketing team, they are doing right now what's called, dedicated marketing. So they are reaching to people, to some customers, not to every customer. How they decide that I want to reach to this group of customers, but not the others. We have developed what's called, churn probability model. Churn probability model, it's a machine learning model. Simple. It's a logistic regression machine learning model. You can learn about it if you're interested. And that model is doing nothing but looking at the products that the customers are buying, and looking how long the customer are with us in the company, and they try to predict a probability between 0 and 1. What is the probability that the customer will leave the company? If that the probability is more than 75, then we start to communicate with that customer saying, hey, we have this offer. If you stay with us, we can give you this discount. If you add this product, we can give you additional discount, and da 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 da. But for if their probability is, let's say, close to 0, okay, or within 20-30%, we are not worried about that customer, because this means, with very low probability that this customer will leave us. That's how, you know, that's how data-driven decisions, or the data, can help us make, decisions. Okay. There's some key tools we have to learn when we talk about data analysis in general. Definitely, I'm not going to ask you to do anything here, I mean, specifically, but you have to know how to deal with Excel files, how to work with Excel functions. That's for you, definitely. We may not use any Excel at all, but it's for you. Don't think about data analysis only, coding and Python and R, and that's it. People could hire a data analyst just to do, Excel work. And I saw this in multiple accounting companies. They are hiring people to do only Excel work. Okay. And SQL is a programming language. It's dedicated, it's called declarative programming language, used, to retrieve data from database management system software. An example of that is SQL Server. SQL Server is called the database management system. So SQL, it's a language we use to communicate with the database management system that owns the data, that stores the data, to retrieve the data that I want from that database management system. Python and R, as you know, it's programming languages to, manipulate the data and so on. Tableau is one of the softwares used to build visualizations. Like I said, it's Excel. It's don't underestimate Excel. If you search for a data analysis in accounting field, my wife in from the accounting field, I keep bringing accounting because I talk to her too much about these things. They use Excel a lot. They are very professional in Excel. They use Excel a lot. Everything they do in Excel, okay? Because they deal, periodically with amount of data that does not require coding. So why coding? Is I can do it in Excel with functions and so on. So that's kind of foundation. Talking about data types and sources of data. When we talk about data type, like I said, this could be the data could be quantitative, could be qualitative, right? So we might have a discrete or continuous. We might have, categorical data like, female or male, married, not married, maybe, race. What is the race? Your race, these values of the race, the options you see in any job application. It's part of the qualitative data. Quantitative, like I said, age, salary, numerical data, time series data we could have. These kind of the data we work with. Spatial data could be related to the location, longitude, latitude, and their related information. Can anybody give me an example of spatial data where we can find a spatial data? Have you seen in your life a spatial data before? And it could be related to what in general? You have 1 second left because we have 7 minutes. Okay. Spatial data, I worked before in 2018 with transportation company where they have 35 sensor installed in every truck and trailer they own. And the company or the vendor who installed these sensors are sending data about every truck and trailer every 15 minutes. Imagine 35 transaction about the same truck, okay, coming to the company database, okay, every 15 minutes. At that time, they have almost 5,000 truck and trailer. So multiply 5,000 truck and trailer, multiply by 35 data points every 15 minutes. How much data were receiving in every 15 minutes. Now, this is not the point. The point is part of that data was the location of the truck and the trailer at that point. When the sensor sends us the data, it sends us, okay, this is the longitude and latitude of that truck. And at that time, one of the sensors was, for example, the temperature. So they want to know the condition, the weather condition, and the road where the truck driver is driving. So the sensors are sending 35 data points. One of them was the longitude and latitude, which we call the spatial data. Okay, so that's an example of a spatial data that has longitude and latitude. Data sources could be, like I said, could be coming from a survey that you built to collect data, or could be coming from an experiment in a lab. Other than this could be, secondary data that comes from, a public data set, or maybe a company database or an API. Like, for example, if you Google right now, there is what's called YouTube Data API. YouTube Data API it's a simple API that allow you through Python code to interact with YouTube and get information about different channels, their videos, the titles of their videos, the description of their videos, when their videos were published, and so on. So this is a way to collect data from YouTube, to use YouTube Data API. Okay. For public data sets, where I will stop here, I'll talk about this next time. You can go to this public data set slides where you can see, there is this, UCI machine learning repository. You can find plenty of data sets. Kaggle is another resource. Data.gov, it's a website owned by the government. You can find different data sets. Google dataset search, you can just Google, you know that. If you don't know that, this is how people search in Google. Dataset search. OpenData.gov also is another platform for sharing Indian government. Okay, this is Indian.gov.in, Indian government. World Bank, Open Data, this is another resource. Gapminder also is another resource for finding public data sources. Okay, public data sets. I will stop here, slide 3, and talk to you next week if you guys don't have any question. I will stop sharing for now. Questions? Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Then talk to you next week. And again, welcome to the course. If you need any question, please send me Teams directly, direct message in Teams. If you have, like I said, if you, I will post, whenever, just remind you, whenever I post an assignment or a quiz, I'll send you also a reminder in Canvas. I know Canvas will send you, a notification, but also I'll send you a message in Canvas. So also, just to remind you that there is something over there, and don't skip it, please. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and talk to you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
so
man.
much.
Bye.
See you next
Thank you so much.
Monday.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.